Nice.
Okay. Great. Awesome. Well, we don't even know how we start this off. So I'm just gonna
So to start off, we don't know what to say.
It's just silence for 10 minutes. Okay, awesome. Well, we're here. Today, me and Becca are talking to Rizel Scarlett, who comes to us from the block where she works on Asia. She's a tech lead working on AI agent codename Goose, which I'm so excited to learn about. Thank you for joining us, Rizel.
Thanks for having me. I was so excited. Like when you reached out, I follow you on LinkedIn and I think you're really cool.
Ooh, I think you're really cool.
Man, by the way, the number of times that I mention Sarah's name to other people and they're like, oh my God, Sarah Chips, I love her work.
That's great. I pay people to do that. It's nice to know that money's going far.
It's going really far. You've fully captured the entire market.
Rizel, what is first we have a first question that we ask is okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being like full Skynet, tomorrow we're going to be batteries for the machines, and 10 being like blissful AI future, Lieutenant Data, your AI best friend who's curious and fun. How are you feeling right now? 1 to 10.
Oh wait. 10 was like AI is my best friend, and then
AI is that you have a wonderful utopian future where we live like iRobot type situations before they start killing people, you know?
Oh, this is hard. Okay. I gotta say I'm a 7?
A 7. Okay, 7's good.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, I think that AI is so fun and great and like makes my life faster, but then there's also some scary parts. It depends on who continues to lead us in this AI innovation.
Yeah, Becca. Yeah, good question. Becca, where are you today?
Great check-in, Sarah. I also today I'm like pretty high. I would say I'm also around a 7.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really good about it. I also agree that it depends on many factors in terms of who is leading this thing. But I'm feeling really good. I think it's driven by like I had a lot of great personal experiences this week in building stuff that have like made my life so much better. So
yes.
AI baby, let's go.
Okay, great. I'm like a 5. I'm like a 5. I'm like mid because I've had a really good I agree like there's been so much cool stuff out lately, but I'm also feeling a lot of weight from the like who's going to lead this. That's the one. That's the one. I think you make a really good point. So, okay, we'd like to check in every week.
I love it.
So I think okay, I need to so open source and AI is fascinating to me. Becca's worked in open source and AI a lot. Like she talks to companies that do this all the time. It's a totally different world. Rizel, I know you've been in software for a while.
Yeah.
Have you seen the difference? Like, what would you say is like, first of all, what does Codename Goose do?
Yeah.
And second of all, like, what do you see as the difference between like AI open source and software open source?
Ooh, interesting. Okay. So Codename Goose, this is an AI agent that you can use to basically automate your developer task or really any task. It's a very general purpose AI tool. So the way it works is it connects into MCP servers or model context protocol servers, and you can basically have it do anything you want depending on the MCP server. So if you wanted to connect to Notion or GitHub, you can do that. I primarily use it for coding, and internally at Block, we all like everyone uses it. HR uses it, executive assistants use it. So they may use it to ask about like internal like Block things. Like so they might say like, "Oh, who do I go to for like I don't know, getting this vendor request fixed," or they might ask it to help them like analyze a Google sheet. Meanwhile, I might ask it to help me code. So it's really kind of like general purpose. It just really depends on like what MCP servers you've given it access to, and it can really do anything. Yeah.
Awesome. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna like Becca and I both have a really big question for you, Becca.
Okay, well, I do have this question. I have this question, and then I have more questions about the stuff you just said. So I'm just going to like log those in my mind.
Flag it.
Okay.
Flag it. Okay. the big question that I think we need
I
to like
think I know what you're gonna say.
with here
Okay.
is like, what the hell is model context protocol?
Oh, I got you guys.
We kind of it okay, and I'll give for context on like I feel like how at least I go about the world with this today. I talk about I use MCP in sentences a lot, and I think I know what it means, but then if someone was like, "Cool, break it down and explain it," I'd be like, "Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, totally." So help us out, and also for our like amazing audience. What
Yeah.
the hell is MCP?
Okay, yeah, it also has kind of like a scary-ish sounding name. So you're like, "Oh my god, like model context protocol." But basically, I mean, for like going really, really back, maybe like protocol is just like a set of rules that people have like decided on. Like companies came together and they're like, "These are the rules we're going to use for AI agents to communicate." Right? So cuz we have all these different competing AI agents and they're like, "Let's just make like an open source like standard way for AI agents to communicate." Then the second thing to think about is, or how I would describe it is,
Sarah,
should we wait for her to come back?
oh
Where'd she go?
no, disappeared. She's like, I can't even handle
Yeah.
MCP. Yeah, we can wait. We can wait for her to come
Okay. I was like, that was too much. I'm out of
No,
here.
by the way, I love that you started with like, what even is a protocol? I think
Yeah.
that's it. I mean, because I can like repeat some of this stuff once Sarah gets back, but
Yeah.
like, also let me just text her real quick and see. Sorry.
No worries. StreamYard could be weird.
Okay. Um, when I don't know there. Okay, so I've worked in tech for I don't know more than 10 years now,
Wow.
but I'm not. I would say like a technical person, meaning um, I would call myself like a technical product manager in terms of my level
Mm.
of like understanding of technology. And
Mm.
so what's been cool about being able to use agentic tools now, whether it's for coding or for whatever, is it's driven me in this direction of like, wait a second, like
What?
HTTP, how does
Yeah.
that work?
Yeah.
Like, like
Can we
going back
add
to
the
fundamental,
protocol?
exactly, exactly, or like API. Wait, hmm, huh? Like um. So, oh, okay. Sarah's internet's down. She's gonna.
Um,
It's okay. We'll keep going and she'll rejoin.
okay.
So back to MCP. You said MCP is essentially a standardized protocol or set of rules for AI agents to interact with each other.
Yeah.
Why is that important? Like, why is that needed?
Yeah, and to clarify, not to interact with each other, but to interact with other systems. There's another protocol called A2A that's for AI agents to interact with each other. I think
Okay.
I might have misspoke, my bad. But
No,
yeah,
no, I probably just regurgitated incorrectly. So great. Thank you for the clarification.
yeah, and that's needed because okay, think of it this way. When you use like maybe like Claude or ChatGPT or something like that, you kind of have to copy and paste over the context, right? Like you're typing something into a Google Doc and then you're like, "Claude, can you help me make this sentence sound better?" And you copy and paste it and put it back in there. But instead, you can have your AI agent actually click into that Google Doc through like a Google Drive MCP server.
She's back, baby.
Yay.
I'm back. Okay.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so you're basically giving it access to connect to other tools that you use every day. In fact, in the Goose ecosystem, we don't refer to it as MCP servers because that's like too like since everybody internally uses it, like that's too big of a word. Everyone's like, what are you talking about? So we call it extensions because we're like it's extending Goose's capabilities. Without this Google Drive MCP server or this GitHub MCP server or Notion, Goose can't access it. It doesn't even know what you're talking about. You could be like, hey, can you type this in Notion for me? Or can you edit my Notion doc? And it's going to be like, what Notion doc? What is Notion? But you
Yep.
connect it into there and then it's like, oh yeah, I got you. I'm able to find everything that you have. So developers tend to describe MCP as like an API for AI agents because it connects your systems to your AI agent. And then it's on top of that, it's needed because instead of creating all these different custom integrations to connect your AI agent to whatever other system or app is out there, you just have like the standardized way that you would basically call it. And it's like really, it's, I shouldn't say really simple, but it's relatively simple if you're a developer and you've built something before. Yeah.
I have a question about how kind of how this is set up from us through the lens of a specific pain point that I myself have run into often when working with AI agents, which
Okay.
is authentication. So it seems like one of the biggest sticking points and things that is difficult is um, essentially like giving your agent access to like your logged in version of said service or tool
Yeah.
and like having that work every single time.
Yeah.
How do you guys tackle that with Goose? And like you have this on a totally different scale because there are tons of employees at Block using
Yeah.
like it's a lot of people. Yeah,
It's
like
a
how do you guys approach this?
yeah. So we there's I guess two different ways. You can either have these like environment variables in there. So like what am I trying to say? Okay, so you add in your Goose extension or your MCP server, and it'll ask you like, "Hey, what's your API token?" And then it connects that way. It'll know that this is particularly Rizel's Slack connection. Or you can also have like there's support for OAuth 2.0. So once you connect to that extension, it'll open up a browser and just tell you to log in, and then Goose has access through that method. Does that answer your? I hope it answers your
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
That
totally.
makes
So
sense.
is there
Do you have for like is that what you do for like EAs or like even like people that are not technical? Like I mean I mean they can get an API key, right? So is it just like step 1 go get your API key and then add it and then
Yeah.
your extension works?
Yeah, basically, yeah. And my team is like we do internal and open source DevRel, so we've written a whole bunch of documentation on this. Another thing I forgot to add is we have deep links basically. So you could either like because I seen for other like MCP clients like Claude Code and stuff like that. There's like this JSON blob you have to put in, and it can look a little intimidating. We have these deep links. You click it, it opens a like a page where or like a field where you can see, oh, here's the extension about to be added.
Mm,
Here's the place where you're supposed to put your environment variable, and you'll just copy and paste in that token and press save, and then it's all added.
cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I better understand it.
Yay.
And also, I guess one thing to add, and check me on this, MCP is specifically an open source protocol that was built by Anthropic, right?
Yes. And well, Block will like me to probably say we had a part in it too. So
Okay,
yeah, there's multiple companies that came together. I think Anthropic led the charge. But we had a part in like contributing to the spec.
cool.
Yeah.
That's always so hard to agree. What like it's so hard for like people. It's like it's the hardest thing in the world actually to get, especially multiple companies. That's pretty good that y'all came up with something.
Right, right. I'm impressed. I mean, I can't take it credit because when that happened, I was on maternity leave. But I kept logging into Slack and being like, "What's going on over there?" I have no.
That's great. So what speaking of which, like back to the open source question, like do you feel like what do you see it's different? Because it feels so different to me. And I can't put my finger on what it is.
Ooh,
The difference between like
between
open source AI and open source
Like
software,
software.
traditional software.
Yeah.
I okay, maybe I don't feel like it's that different. I think the parts that could be different are like AI still feels kind of like a black box. So there's parts of it that like may feel inaccurate to say like it's open
Mhm.
source because it's like okay, we can't really see the data that these models are working on and everything. But like the experience I have working with the Goose is like the application itself is open source, the CLI is open source, and just it feels the same. It has that community feel where everybody wants to contribute and they want to learn more. And like we have like 100 PRs open that we're trying to like burn down because everyone's just excited. They're like, I want to add this. This part's cool. I really like this. So to me, that part feels similar. But I'm curious, what part for you doesn't feel the same? Because then it might trigger something in my mind.
Yeah, I think, I think you might have hit on the fact that it's new and people are excited. And I
Yeah.
just feel like the software world has been a little stagnated for a little while. Like
Oh,
the most like exciting stuff. I mean, Next is probably the most exciting thing
yeah.
that's come out in a while. And then and that's attracted, I feel like Next attracted a lot of developers who have been in the ecosystem for a while that tend to be more skeptical. So
Yeah.
generally, and I haven't gone too deep in AI open source, I've just seen people be more excited and like
Yeah.
fresh, and maybe that's the nature of it being like new and interesting, and
Yeah.
maybe like I wonder if it's like a little more accessible. I'm actually asking because I don't know. Do
Yeah.
you, both of you have seen more AI open source than I have? Do you feel like it's more accessible for people that are new? Do you see more new people, or is it like the people that have been doing this for like 10 years that like find AI open source?
Ooh. I let Becca talk. I talked a lot. If I have you.
Well, you should be talking much more than me. I'll give you like my quick take on this, and it. I think that um, something Rizel you said at the beginning when Sara asked you the question about like where you are in the scale of like Skynet to AI best friend. I think applies here, which is like philosophically, I think the open source part of AI, the AI software development world is really important to people in a way that I think open source software in general is, but I think that any level of transparency in building AI based software is really important to a lot of people and can be pretty polarizing. The second piece that I'll say from like my little VC hat lens around open source AI is open source can be a really, really, really effective tool for distribution and growth.
Mm.
There's basically like two ways that we've seen companies try and get growth amongst developers. So I'll say like in the developer tools category, there's either like top down of like I'm going to sell directly to Block and they're going to have their developers use me. Or there's in the open source case, I am going to create this like super vibrant, very engaged open source community of developers around my thing. And they are going to become evangelists for this thing because
Yeah.
they're so using it so much or they're contributing to it or they feel really tied into the community. And then all of a sudden that starts trickling in bottom up into these companies. Um, so that's like my two observations,
Yeah.
whether they're good or not.
No, they're amazing to me. I feel like I agree with you, especially on the creating the vibrant community thing. Like when I worked at GitHub, I will always tell people, I'm like, that is an easy way to get your project popular rather than like hiding in your little like not like I shouldn't say little room, but like hiding in your room and being like, I'm making this project and everyone will one day adopt it. I'm like, just open source it. You'll get, like you said, evangelists. You'll get like free evangelists who are already like
Right.
bought in and just telling other people about it. They might even do a conference talk about like the time they contributed to this awesome open source project. Yeah, to add to that, I think what you were saying, Sarah, like about it being accessible is like I think that's really true too. Like open source AI, it feels more accessible. And I don't know if it's just the newness of it. I don't know. I think it's just it reminds me of like back in the well, I don't know if I can say back in the day because I'm kind of young, but like it reminds me of like back in the day when you were just like at like the world was endless, right? Like you can just add anything you wanted in. There's like mashups that you could have done, like APIs, like there was no like limits with MySpace and all that. It kind of gives those same vibes.
Wait, can you tell me like a sort of like more like concrete like memory or example you have of that time and
Okay.
like what it was like to build it? Because yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to hear that. Like, where does that take you?
Yeah. Oh wait, like I think even okay, when I learned about like, oh, I can edit my MySpace page, I didn't even know about coding or anything. I was just like changing like characters. I'm like, oh, I can make this bold. It felt limitless. Like, oh my god, like I could create something just by quickly typing. And I think people are feeling that same
Hmm.
excitement. My manager Angie, she talks about like this mashup era. I think I was too young for it, but apparently like people were mixing Craigslist with, or like I don't know, maps with like something else. Like I don't
Wait,
know.
Sarah, do you know this era?
No, I don't know what I don't know what that I don't
Okay.
remember, like, I remember the maps error, but I don't remember what, like, it might have been when it was, like, the b APIs were first starting, it might be
Yeah,
that's what you're
I
talking
think
about, because that was when APIs were first around, and
yeah,
people were like, "This is nuts. I
yeah,
can, like, do this thing and this thing," and, like, and then they'd come up with these tools that didn't make a ton of sense, but they were like, you're just like, "Whoa, I never
yeah.
thought of that."
I think that's the same thing that
Yeah.
like she mentioned, and she said it eventually led to Google Maps being like, let's just come out with an official API because people
Mm.
are just like combining all of these things, and I think that's like what model context protocol gives us. Even okay, people have been using Goose to build Goose. Like the team has actually the engineering team. We initially wrote Goose in Python, and then they were like, let's rewrite it in Rust and TypeScript. And they're like, we don't even know Rust. Let's use Goose to help us. And
I
like,
love that.
Is
right.
Goose so Goose is under the hood of Goose. It's using like one or multiple other models to help
Ooh,
with this kind of thing. Like for example, like coding
yes.
generation.
Good question. So Goose, you can basically bring any LLM you want. So if you wanted to use Claude Sonnet 4,
UIOL.
yeah, bring bring your own LLM. Yeah, so that's what's happening under the hood. And even me, like I when I was on maternity leave, I was like, oh, I kind of want to contribute to Goose, but I don't even know what's going on here. So I was like, let me ask Goose. I'm like, how do I add this? I noticed dark mode's not working right. So that's just it just feels accessible and fun. Like
Hmm,
yeah,
that's really
Something I
cool.
really appreciate about, like, coding with AI is, like, you don't need to, like, sometimes I feel like when you're, like, stuck and you wanna ask a teammate, like, about this thing, you're, like, a little worried. You're like,
yeah,
does this make should I know this already? Does it make me look a little dumb if I don't know this?" But,
yeah.
like, I feel like when you're coding with AI, it's like, "Oh, Sarah, what a good question," and you're like, "I know."
It's like thanks for glazing me. Like yes, thank you. I love it too. Like I talked about this when I worked with GitHub Copilot because that was like my first instance of like coding with AI, and
Mm,
I'm like it brings psychological safety because I remember when I first started out, just like you said, Sarah. Like I would be like,
mhm.
"Hey, I don't know how to do this," and people would be like, "Did you Google it?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I spent like 2 hours googling it. I'm embarrassed."
That's actually really interesting, like the point you just brought up about psychological safety.
Yeah.
Like that's a beautiful poetic like
Thanks.
way to phrase that because you learn so much faster when you
Yeah.
have that
Yes.
and you're not afraid to ask questions. And
Yes.
I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. That's really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's so great. I love that. What is the craziest thing you've seen people do with Goose?
Ooh, okay. So some people have made a team of geese and like
I want a team of
multiple
geese.
multiple geese just working in action. And then
Oh, is that what they call it? Oh, cool.
and then
Flocks, flocks of geese everywhere.
yeah. And then some people, okay, two engineers
Wait,
have
so
like
wait, hold on. When you say team of geese, it's like, what do you see people doing? They do like a whole bunch of different agents doing different things?
yeah, like they have like one acting like a project manager and then one acting as a develop like they have them with different roles, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I'm sold on Goose. I'm where I get I'm gonna that's after this, I'm going to work on like 2 Goose things.
The other craziest one, this one I think is crazier. Um my some engineers built like a little side project and basically it's a little creepy, but it's also cool. It's like watching watching your everything that you do on your computer. It's also listening to you, and then it'll pop up like random things like throughout as it like watches your progress. It'll be like you're super productive right now, and like it'll like give you highlights.
cheerleader?
Yeah. The worst thing it did for me though, I turned it off because I was like, this is enough. I wrote down in my Apple notes that I wanted to open a PR for Cloudflare, and then it did the PR for me. And
And it didn't like ask. It wasn't like, "Is this okay?"
no, it just did it. But this is not Goose. This is a thing called Goose perception. So it's not built into Goose, so nobody be scared.
Yeah,
But
no, I think
yeah,
it's an AI thing. Yeah.
yeah, it just did it. Like my manager approved it, and she was like, "This was a little bit longer, like than you usually write." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Like, it wasn't me, it was Goose.
Yeah.
Wait, is Goose, just for clarity here, is Goose an internal tool just for Block, or this is accessible to anyone?
Accessible to anyone. We have like our internal version,
Got it.
but yeah, it's accessible to
Okay, sick.
anyone.
Oh, this is great. Do you find interesting. Do you find that people, because it's like newer, like focused like mostly on technical stuff, like it's like doing a lot of technical things, or because in your company you have people that are like traditionally non-technical, like in non-technical roles using it? Are they like, what do they think? Are they doing cool stuff?
Yeah, I think a lot of them they just been building apps though that they're like, "Oh, I wish I could have built this before." So, like a lot of them are like, "Oh, I'm building like an on-call thing for our support team or whatever." And some people they're just building fun apps with their kids, and then other people they're like actually using it to like analyze spreadsheets that they have. Like someone was asking me for help and I'd seen them like analyzing like applicant data. They were like in HR. So yeah, those are the things they're
Cool.
doing. Yeah.
Quick question about that is,
Mhm.
um, is the difference between using any other coding tool, Replit, Claude, whatever, to say build a on-call scheduling application or whatever that is maybe integrated, let's say, into like Slack or something, um, versus using Goose for it, that Goose is theoretically already like plugged into all of my stuff. So I don't have to mess with like, okay, now we need to set up the integration with Slack or whatever. It like already has that. Is that
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah. Kinda, yeah, because of two things. One, it's an AI agent, so the idea is that it'll do stuff on your behalf rather than you telling it step by step. I mean, you could put it in that mode if you wanted to do step by step, but it can just go ahead and execute it for you. And then the additional factor that it's using MCP servers, so it's already like connected to all of those apps for you. But it's not like Goose is the only one that does this. There's other alternatives like Aider and Claude Code. I don't know. I don't use all of them because I'm in Goose land.
Yeah, good, good. Yeah, that's great. Do you think for people like me and Becca who like are constantly hearing about MCPs and are like feel like we have like we at least like understand how like what it is and how it works, would you suggest that like the next thing we do is make our own just so like we can like fully understand it? Like, is that
Ooh.
what you did, or do you feel like you're like in the ecosystem so you like understand what's going on?
I didn't even make my. I shouldn't admit this, but I haven't made my own MCP server.
Okay, great. Well,
You might not need
maybe
to.
the three of us will do it.
we
Yeah,
should? That would be fun.
that could be really fun. I
Oh my
wonder
god,
what
we
we
should
could
build
do.
one live and stream it on
Ooh,
Twitch.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, well, maybe after this, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll add some links to the show. Maybe we'll see.
No, that's cool though.
Yeah. But I think even if you just started using an MCP client like Goose, then I think you'll start to understand the feel for an MCP server as well. I don't know.
Yeah. What, Becca, you thought of like the great API question before this. I'm not going to
Yeah, I
steal
had
it.
a question about this. So, my colleague, I
Yeah.
never know what to call him because he's like my one and only colleague. He's also my boss. It's we'll call him Matt. That's his name. Recently, Matt built a MCP server,
Yeah.
and and he uh using like Claude and a few other things, and essentially the goal in this particular instance was like to get certain information that lives in our Airtable. Like,
Cool.
and when we were talking about it, a really good question came up that I would love to hear your take on, which is essentially like if There are two ways to do this. One is like we just call the Airtable API and say, hey, like give us these records back that have these conditions,
Yeah.
versus like asking an agent to go get Airtable API records or whatever. Ask it a question that it then answers by going and getting those API records and returning it back to us. Like
Yeah.
what are the main differences basically between MCP and like an API?
Yeah, I think for an API, that's like you're calling the data to put it into your application. I think people do get confused about this, and I used to too. Right? You want the data to come into whatever application that you've built. But for an MCP server, you want your AI agent to have that information so you can continue to like interact with it. Maybe you want it to give you more information or help you to brainstorm or something like that off of that additional information. Does that make sense? And you can even like combine multiple MCP servers together. Like you might be like, okay, thanks for that Airtable data. Can you put that into Google Drive for me? To me, I think of it as if you want to be really, really lazy like me, like that's when you want to use like an MCP client.
Totally. It's like the MCP client in this case is the thing that needs to make essentially the API call, but it's doing it. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Was it
It's
clear? I can.
a layer.
Yeah. Yeah. Like sorry, MCP client or AI agent. Yeah. But basically you can say like, hey, like give me this information. I want to know about this. Like, oh, let me see how I can give a better description.
Or
Okay.
maybe I'll give you the example and then you tell me how it might work.
Yes.
So, for example, we have a database, we have an Airtable table that has, also just for context, I realized I didn't tell you this. I work at an early stage venture capital fund.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
we have a database where we keep track of every company that has ever pitched us, right?
Yeah.
We'll call it the pitches table.
Yeah.
And let's say the question we're trying to answer is like, what are all the companies that have pitched us that are like cybersecurity startups
Mm.
that are
Mm.
based in Paris?
Yeah.
So like that's the query.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think okay, if you were saying, "Oh, I'm going to use an API for this," maybe you would have that integrated into your app and like display that on like some type of dashboard or something. But with like using an AI agent and plugging it in that way, you get like dynamic information. You don't have to create another chart or whatever and pull in additional data. And then it also makes it accessible to people who might not be as technical, where they can just literally just chat with the data, or you can say like email this to somebody after you do it, like
Mm.
something like have it do additional tasks after. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like we were describing is like, and would you say this is accurate? Like with an API call, you need to know exactly what you need. Like you
Yeah.
need to be like, I need to hit this table. I need to understand like these are the parameters. But with MCP, you're kind of like opening up like a conduit where like the exact data you need is maybe not the most important. You can like kind of get what you need when you need it.
Yeah, you said that
Cool.
way better and shorter than me. I loved it.
No, you said it. I just that's awesome. What are some things you're like besides MCP, like I bet you see a lot of AI stuff day to day, given that you're in dev. Like what are some things you're excited about right now?
Yeah, I'm excited about um folks coming out with like local and open source models. They haven't quite hit it on the nail yet. Kimmy K2 has been like the best one so far, but I'm excited for that because it allow people to interact with AI for free or cheaper, and then also like completely locally where their data can like stay with them. So I'm excited to just keep seeing people iterate on that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too, especially when you talk about like I like a lot I see more and more tools that are like get everything you're doing and put it in this like table or like and part of me is like, "Oh, that's so exciting because then I can like query my own life." And then I'm like, "Oh, do I want like this company to know everything in my life?" So yeah, stuff like that's very exciting.
Yeah. What about y'all? What are y'all I'm trying to think of other AI stuff.
Ooh, what am I excited about?
Sure, you
What a good
first.
question. Becca, what are you excited about? I'm excited. So one thing I'm like really, I wouldn't say I'm like excited about, but I'm thinking about because I just had like dinner with a friend the other night that is in film.
Ooh.
And like she was telling me how like they're like it's so present for them right now because of tools like Zora that are like imperfect, right? Like it's not like you can be like, Zora, make me a ketchup commercial,
Uh-huh.
but like you can take like for things like commercials and like short form, like AI will do a lot. And so there's like a lot of people talking about like of course jobs are huge. Like that's like we talk about jobs, but that's like a very big impact very fast. And there are some people in the industry that are like super hyped about it. They're like, and they've been like in the industry for a while. Like I think she was mentioning, and my source is my friend, so I haven't looked on this online. So, but she was saying like Natasha Leone is like doing already like a lot of AI content with video,
Mm,
and like she was also saying there are other people who are like all the way on the other side of that. So I'm excited to see where that pans out. Like I
mm.
imagine AI will turn into like a tool that is helpful in some cases, and then like as happens with a lot of these technologies, like the parts that don't work become very obvious. So I'm interested in that.
That was a
What
Yeah.
about you?
that was a great answer. That's really interesting. So I also am super excited about like innovations and things being built in like the local model space.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a more fun answer since we already
Mhm.
talked about that.
Mhm.
Um, I have been seeing a lot of interesting products that are a combination of hardware and software and that are built for kids. And I
Ooh.
think it's really like okay, so there might be a red flag popping up in your minds that's like that's scary, right? But or that has for me at least. But I think uh with the right implementation that takes into account like safety and making sure hallucinations are not a problem, etc., there are some really exciting implementations of AI in products for kids that help them like learn and be more creative,
Yeah.
um, that are really cool for me. I'll give you an example. I'm gonna be like semi vague about this because I don't know how much of the company information is confidential, but I've seen like a couple of different companies lately that are building things that help kids read, help
Wow.
kids learn how to read. Um, that essentially uses a combination of like vision models. So there's some sort of like camera component that can like see the book and some sort of audio thing. Usually they're using like a combination of models that essentially create a experience where a kid can sit down with a book and have an AI like read the book to them, or they can read out loud and be like, how do I pronounce this word? And the AI will be like, oh, let's sound it out together. There's just like I'm seeing more things like that that are exciting to me because I think probably because Becca as a kid would have loved that.
Aw.
Like, honestly, that's probably one piece of it. And I just really I love seeing people thinking of like both creative and useful expressions of AI. That are like fun. There's like some really cool fun versions of these types of products I've seen that are like literally like like visually and brand wise very fun and like I don't know. I'm glad there's people out there working on stuff like that, you know?
I like that. I like that. We had like a virtual bring your kids to work day, and then we showed the kids Goose, and we had them like build like with AI. Some of them didn't have access to Goose, but they were so creative. Like they were like making race car games and comic books, and like I like that idea of like showing kids AI, but like in a responsible way, of course. Or
That
like
is
leveraging it for learning. Yeah.
so cool, by the way.
That
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah.
You have a daughter. You have a daughter. You have a daughter. You just came back from maternity. How old is she?
She's 7 months right now. Yeah.
Okay, so she's not banging away at
She's not
AI.
ready.
We'll
How do
get
you
to
think
that
about it for her?
later, okay?
Like, are you like, how do you think about it for her? Like, do you think you're just gonna be like, oh, this is a thing? Like, how do you think about explaining it to her? I remember I had a friend who was like, saying that their kid would go to like the park and be like, it would be like, Alexa, play my favorite song. And they like wouldn't understand why Alexa didn't answer them. Like, how do you think, like, yeah, do you think about like that for your kids?
Oh my god, I don't know if I've gotten that far.
Yeah, okay, yeah, she's talking about Stevie. We have a while.
But that is a good question. That is something I'm gonna have to explain eventually.
That's so funny. That's like the new conversation as your kids grow up. Is like you have to explain to them like where babies come from
Yeah.
and how AI works. That's hilarious. Oh wait, Sarah, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I am because music just came out of nowhere in my home. Okay, now it's gone.
Is it because you were like, "Hey Alexa, play blah blah blah"?
Oh, I think it
Oh. I'm crying. That's
I thought
hilarious.
it was my husband, like, rocking out in the living room, and I was like, "Okay, good for him, though." We're, like, in the middle of
He probably also was like, "What the hell?" That's so funny.
Okay, great. All right, well, I know we're at time, so, what's the best way for people to find you online? And anything else you wanna talk about, like, where people should check out?
Yeah. On social media, my handle is Black Girl Bites. On LinkedIn, I'm Rizel Scarlett. And things people should check out. Dang, I feel like I'm like plugging Goose a lot. But okay, I'm still
Goose.
gonna. I don't know.
I'm
I'm
gonna
shaking.
look at
Oh,
that. That's
go
what I'm
for
doing
it.
after this.
Okay. So I have like a YouTube like series on Block's open source channel, and it's called The Great Goose Off. And basically I have like people use Goose and I give them like crazy challenges. Like they like compete against each other. And I'm like, make a login form that like you can't log into or something like some I always say something like really wild that doesn't make sense and I see what they create. So yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, that sounds so neat.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to watch that. That sounds
Yeah, me too.
such a cool idea.
It's really fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're one of our first guests.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise. I liked it. Bye.
Great.
All right.
All right. See y'all later.
Bye.
I think we just, yeah.
Now